Hey guys, it's me, EODGamer here. I'm sure a lot of us are seeing the meteoric rise in all of the different assets classes other than Exalted, and it's a crazy rise. In this video, I want to teach you actually how to hedge Exalted inflation, why are they dropping so fast, how to be opportunistic, as well as sharing with you some of my other thoughts. If you guys want to retain value in Path of Exile 2, make some money. We actually talked about this scenario before it happened. So you can see here, this was the date where we put out the video why you shouldn't hoard Exalted prices. And since then, the market went crazy after that. I don't think it was this video pumping anything because it only has 3.7k views, only really meant for the very loyal supporters of the channel in Path of Exile 2 where you guys have notifications and subscribe. But you can see, we already said get out of Exalted. There is no way that is going to be a good investment for all the reasons mentioned in the video. But regardless of what asset class, this shows us that no matter what you threw, and these were all stuff that we talked about in the video as well, which we thought were good investments, and everything went up with respect to the Exalted prices. So it's not the benefit of a certain asset class that is better, like Regal Orbs, Val Orbs, Divine Orbs, Chaos or Perfect Jeweler. Everything went up. Some went up more than others because people realized certain things. But one important thing is Divine Orbs was the outlier out of all of them. So we learned two things from seeing just these numbers alone. One is, firstly, Exalted is now worthless. Exalted is like kind of shitty. Secondly, Divine Orbs are way more important than people thought. I will talk about Divine Orbs in a little bit, but let's first things first, talk first about why is Exalted prices dropping so fast. Then we'll touch on what to do, how to hedge it. Firstly, more players are entering late game. Very, very easy to farm Exalted. I'm currently at level 78 in endgame already, and I can farm up to 200, 300 Exalted a day, including trading strategies that I talked about on the channel, and I teach you guys how to farm like 100 plus in a day and stuff. It's very easy to farm Exalted. So with so much Exalted being farmed by so many late game players, it's no wonder that there's a lot of deflationary pressure on Exalted, causing it to like go even more worthless. And this trend likely is going to continue. So if you have Exalted right now and you're holding a stash of like 100 plus, please get out of it. It's not worth it. Next, another thing that is very important is as we go on later and later, people thought that, oh, maybe you go into endgame, the drops from bosses will become like insanely good. You're guaranteed a divine, maybe you're guaranteed a perfect jeweler ops at T17 maps and stuff like that, 16, 17. But that's not the case. People realize that is not the case, and the drop rates for stuff like divine is still super rare. Perfect jeweler is also relatively rare. I haven't gotten a perfect jeweler so far. I've only gotten one divine so far. So the rarity for divine ops is definitely way rarer. I think it's like 1:300 if I were to be honest right now, the drop rates. So this one could go even higher in terms of divine ops, and that is one of the big things as well. Next is of course use case. Let's talk a bit about divine ops. Divine's op use case is to re-roll perfect stats. In the beginning of the game, that was kind of worthless because we all didn't have endgame gear. Now as we're going deeper, it's very easy to pick up perfect 4-liners, maybe for 1 divine, 2 divine right now in the current market prices. But the thing is, now divine ops actually have a massive use because you can buy shitty roll, low roll, 4 perfect 4-liners and roll them up and they become like super max roll, super solid as well. So the use case for divine ops now start increasing in endgame, as well as at the same time, Exalted is like way easier to farm. And Divine Ops rarity is also a huge fact. So demand massively spiked up because we are entering a situation of later game, more perfect items with perfect 4-liner items, perfect 6-liners. I'm mainly 4-liner because it's jewels, but there are perfect 6-liners or whatever not. Divine Ops are super good as well to reroll all of them. Of course, next thing that I want to talk about is how do we actually hedge inflation? And I already talked about why they are dropping so fast, but the next thing that we want to know is of course, how do we actually prevent ourselves from getting eroded? The easiest thing to talk about, of course, is rotating into other asset classes. Asset classes in this case meaning like Divine Orbs, Perfect Jeweler Orbs, Regal, Val, whatever not. Don't stay in Exalted, it's not very good, but doesn't mean the rest are also very good. I'll give you a few examples in a bit. Other than that, by rotating into your different asset classes, you're actually hedging your risk, because there might be buff and nerfs also coming up, right? Maybe they realize Divine Orbs are too rare. Let's buff Divine Orbs after when they come back from their Christmas holidays. Then Divine Orbs prices will start shifting in the other way. Whereas if you have a diversified basket of stuff that are useful, you will find it very good. So what I am going for is rare, desirable stuff things that drop rate is quite rare, and 2 is as we enter late game, end game is very desirable. So I'm going to give you a few examples now. Divine Orb is a very late game item. It is a bit expensive, but I think it's worth considering. The meteoric rise of Divine Orbs might be a cause for concern. Maybe they might do a buff in terms of Divine Orb drop rates, maybe not. But at the same time, you want to get other late game items, and I think another one of them is like Chaos Orbs. Chaos Orbs is still really solid because you remove one line, you slap in one new line. You will always be looking to perfect your mid-high tier gear, your 3-liners that are not bad on your jewels, looking for that last 4th line. Chaos Orbs makes lousy pieces potentially become good, and you burn through a lot of them as well. They are also, in my opinion, slightly rarer than Exalted in terms of difficulty in picking them up from drops. I get way more Exalted than Chaos so far. But then again, right now the prices, as you can see, is like Chaos Orbs is now worth more than Exalted by almost double. Previously, back then when we were talking about it, when we first started the game, it's like 1 Exalted can get you 2 Chaos. Now it's the other way around. 2 Chaos can get you 1 Exalted, and slowly it's going to be even worse. So 2 assets that I think are really great is still the Divine and Chaos Orb. Perfect Jeweler Orbs is very, very expensive, and if you're putting so much on your resources into one item, I think it's very, very risky. Eventually, once everyone reaches super late game and everyone already has 5 links, I think Perfect Jeweler Orbs will come down. But for now, as more and more people are still pushing in the late game, it's going to keep going up. When is it going to come down? I will let you guys know on the channel as well. I think that will be a more interesting thing. But for now, I think the top 3 are probably my top picks for investment, for your main assets. Don't go into the other alternatives yet. But very, very importantly, this one, for those of you who are massive whales, gigalot whales, is definitely worth investing. The Mirror of Kalandra. So for those of you who don't know what the heck this is, and it's of course freaking expensive. This is a very, very expensive item. But if you Mirror of Kalandra basically allows you to copy any item, the stats over to another item. So you can copy a god tier item, and then you will have that god tier item. That's why it's worth so much. Really, really OP. Since you don't have to buy it outright. This is a long-term investment hold, very, very rare. I haven't seen one at all. I don't know anyone who would drop this. That's why it's so expensive. If somehow your trading strategies, you make a lot of money as well, you get up to 230 Divine Orbs right now, you can consider buying this. I think it's really, really quite solid. So those are some of my thought process of what I am doing right now to hedge Exalted inflation. Last but not least, of course, is how can we be opportunistic? How can we take advantage on this situation? Now, the first thing that I have is, firstly, buy mid to high tier gear. What do I mean by mid to high tier gear? Let me go into the game engine real quick over here. If you see even my gear, for example, I am looking for stuff that is not the best out of all of them. Maybe like this is a 39% rarity with some life, with some lightning resistance. I'm getting stuff like this with like not the best, 27% rarity with a lot of cold fire resistance. These are going super cheap right now. This amulet over here, which I also got, which gives me 45% rarity increase, 40% fire res, and just some a little bit of here and there. Also not the best item, not a perfect line, but it gives me what I need. Super cheap as well. I think I got it for like less than 10 Exalteds for each of these 3 right now. At the same time, I'm also making sure that I'm keeping track of my gear. I have a good lightning res one here. Again, very cheap, giving me the stats that I need. Gloves, this one was like, this is the cheapest out of all of them, I think. I got it for the life, some res, and a good amounts of evasion. With my body here also, good amounts of evasion, good amounts of life, some but no resistances at all, as you can see. Again, this was very affordable to get. So I keep upgrading my gear. My hat here, my bow here is also doing good amounts of damage, and these are like super affordable. And what you should be doing is continuously upgrading your gear as much as you can. So you keep pushing on, you keep buying better gear, because these stuff are very affordable, and it helps you clear faster as well. And then of course you can go into other stuff if you wanted to. But that is what I am looking for in terms of being opportunistic. Right now, the mid to high tier gear is very cheap. If you can afford it, you want to spend more. For me, I don't like going to end game because I generally like to invest my resources rather than like holding it on my character. So I just go for the minimum just to clear content. And of course, next is one huge note is low end gear is going to be much more worthless. It will depreciate even more than Exalted because they are so common and no one wants them. Everyone will go progress towards mid and high tier, slowly getting the best gear possible. So don't hold on to end game gear, just get rid of them in some way or another. that is my recommendation. And of course, last but not least, let's talk about the last two. Get triple resistances. It's going to be really, really cheap right now, even though it's not perfect. It might not have live, it might not have some other stuff. And of course, follow our trading guides on the channel, which we put out from time to time. If you want more regular updates for trading guides, we put out a weekly list of whatever we are doing for our members only section. If you guys want to support the channel, you get access to that list as well, so that people don't flood the market. But thank you guys again so much for watching. Check out these two other videos right here, and see you guys in the next video.